Mark Walsh here from Embodied Yoga Principles. So I have been teaching my whole life. I'm a third-generation teacher, over 10,000 hours of teaching experience, and I'm pretty fussy about teaching. I like teaching a lot. One of the main things I bring my students up on is their use of language. So in this video, we're going to explore some of the most common linguistic errors or less useful linguistic things that I see people do as teachers. And I see them across disciplines do this. Certainly yoga teachers are guilty, dare I say it, of many of these. I made this into a Facebook post a while back. It was pretty popular. It seems like it resonated with a lot of people. Here's my list. I've written a few down so I don't forget them. The first one, I hope I'm not doing any of them myself today, of course. The first one is saying just. So this is something people do a lot. I know it's something that I do. That's another one, saying you instead of I, but I'll come to that. But people say, can you just do this? Can you just relax? Just do this incredibly difficult posture, balance, handstand, whatever it is. The word just is a kind of minimizer that says, look, it's not a big deal. And sometimes it is a big deal for people to relax or whatever. So I would say being careful with the word just would be one. I ask students, and once I mentioned another one there about asking students to speak from the first person, saying I. It's not so much a teacher's mistake, but occasionally I hear teachers say it. They'll say, you know, when you have this problem or you do too much, and that creates a distance rather than owning it and saying, you know, I do this. This is a mistake I make. This is something I think or I recommend. Another big one with words, forgetting to ask permission. So yes, this can be done non-verbally, but I think the gold standard is verbally. Before adjusting anyone is saying, may I? Yeah, even if it's just those two words, you're making eye contact and saying, it's okay, may I? To explicitly ask permission for touching people, for making adjustments, I would say that's absolutely gold standard for teachers. Another one, forced teaming rather than consent. So relates to not asking, saying, we will do something. It's like, oh, will we? Will we really? Yeah, we will do this, we will do that. It's like, or even worse, telling people what they're feeling. You know, it's like, you're feeling very relaxed. No, I'm fucking not. I'm feeling irritated that you've just told me I'm feeling relaxed. So I'm telling people what they will do rather than asking them. You know, you can still give clear instructions like, please do this, please do that. But it's always an invitation. And you don't have to literally say, I invite you. That can be a bit clunky, but that's in the tone. And it's also in the fact that if someone doesn't do what you ask, you're okay with that. And as long as it's not disruptive to a class or violent in some way, you know, if someone wants to do another posture, great. So that's also how you show that you're inviting, is that you don't give negative consequences, little dirty looks or comments in the group, whatever it is, when people don't do what you say. And certainly not this forced teaming of we will, or telling people what they are feeling. You're feeling this, you're feeling that. No, no, no. Tell them the method that you're inviting them into, not the outcome of that method. This really leads on to another one of my major bugbears, which is operational language. So as teachers, well, I got this from one of my own teachers, Paul Linden. Operational language means you're saying the method of what you're doing. So here's how you do this. A classic example, you might say, pay attention to the sensations of breathing as air goes in and out of your nose, bringing your attention to the tip of your nose, and if your mind drifts, bringing your attention back to the tip of your nose. So that's the method. It's not a metaphor like, I don't know, extend your energy. And it's not a result like empty your mind. Well, it's like how? So operational language answers the question of how. Yeah, it's the method, and you might need to break that down for people into different steps. So what I mean by that is this. The vast majority of yoga classes I go to, I'm thinking 90% on my travels worldwide, they're not using clear operational language. They're using kind of flowery metaphorical language, which may make sense. It's like, let's take extend your energy. Well, that might mean something to you. It certainly has a meaning. I'm not saying it's meaningless. Don't hear this as like scientific reductionism or something. But does everyone know what you mean in the class? Can they actually follow you? Is it the Emperor's New Clothes where no one just dares say, what the hell do you mean? I think that question of how, what do you mean by that, is a really important one. Giving a reason for doing things, you don't always have to do this, but that can be very helpful too, to say, okay, the purpose of this is this. Many students will find it much easier to do an exercise. They'll be more bought in if you know a purpose. It's not so much a linguistic mistake, but it is something that I would add into that. Another one would be telling people what they did rather than letting discover them for themselves. So again, it's not a hard rule, but actually saying to people, I might say, for example, where, if anywhere, did you tense up during that posture? Or are you breathing now? Yeah, rather than you're not breathing, or you're tensed up there. The reason is that robs people of the opportunity to build the skill of finding out for themselves. to actually learn for themselves that they're tensing up. And you can help people, you're drawing attention to people, and it also creates a dynamic where the one in authority knows their body better than them. And I think that's not so ethical, not so healthy. So generally my method these days is to point attention, is to say, you know, what if anything you're doing in your jaw, neutral questions, you know, what are you noticing in your body, so people can work that out for themselves. One of my teachers, Peter Blackaby, is very big on this. He gets people to explore where their weight is or how they're moving and notice where the tension is. And that is kind of an educational method rather than just telling people to do it right. So there's a few of the top linguistic mistakes or less useful linguistic kind of teaching habits that I see. The operational language is a really big one there. I hope some of those are useful to you. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. More importantly, however, get the newsletter. So the newsletter you do, is that right? In the box here? Okay. So why you would want the newsletter, so you hear about the best videos, so you actually ask me questions, you can reply to the newsletter, I'll reply. You can hear about events, teacher trainings, other things that are happening and stay in touch more reliably. So newsletter there.